be sure you pick up another Chromebook from the school. And they made a little change for AP testing for you, make it easier for you to get a Chromebook. It's every day, 9 a.m. to 3:30, because some people are back in the school building for um, for school. They brought in this window. So go next to the main entrance to the library, and Ms. Davis will be able to help you. So it's not just Thursdays from 2 to 4 p.m. if this applies for you. If you needed to go and pick up a district-issued Chromebook because the Chromebook you have doesn't have that secure browser lockdown College Board app thing, go ahead and pick up another Chromebook. And my seniors, be aware that graduation is happening at Kezar. You want to be sure you return all the textbooks you borrowed. I know it gets kind of messy with this year and a half of distance learning, but try to have that stuff accounted for. I think someone will be following up with what you have and have not returned. And they're trying to keep in mind that some of you may be keeping some textbooks to review for the AP exam. I think towards the end of May, they want to try to collect as many as they can. Okay, logistics or other kinds of questions? Ask them now. Right, none. So again, here's some good review. I've enabled all the progress checks on AP Classroom. These units might be useful. Math.random, you're guaranteed to see that on your test. Easy points once you remember how to do it. One of the first things we learned. For each loops, kind of new. Super, being in Unit 9, all the things related to inheritance are in that unit. Okay, and these things aren't graded. The 40 multiple choice questions I assigned, I do want you all to do that exam, and I am able to track your progress on that. It will be largely based on completion. It's on you to go back and revisit your mistakes and learn from them. There isn't a, what's it called? Reflection thingy to go with it, since I can see the answer choices that you put and the percentage of things you got right or wrong. You can too. The 40 question practice exam, multiple choice practice exam, shows you your results at the very end. You have to click around a little bit, but there should be a review results button that allows you to revisit your mistakes. Okay, and a study guide. Let's see. This thing Mr. Simon posted or sent me an email this morning. It's like, hey, I found this. It looks useful. So it's been posted to Google Classroom. It's my first take on looking at it. PyBook AP Computer Science cheat sheet. By all means, have this printed next to you during the actual AP exam. PyBook, I think, is an online textbook distributor of sorts. So here, it's like what, 50 pages, 40-something pages of short to the point review? Nope, 50-something pages. So everything you need to know. Oh man. If I had a second monitor, or if I had a phone or something, I would definitely have this open and ready. And then I can even control find, right? Like super. Will it find things for me? Yes, it does. Navigate around in this PDF. So there. Ooh. Right, adds a nice example. Student and person example. So this is pretty good. If you wanted to read through this and be familiar with it, I definitely use this as a resource to study from. And I believe it's mapped to the current APCSA content. Wow, even have an example. So this thing is for you to review. You have your also very fun recursion. Man, I like this. The arrows and the flowcharts and how they denote the values and things. Looks easy to follow. versus the chicken scratch that I usually do on the screen. So more resources for you. This is posted in our Google Classroom. How much time do we have for the 40 question multiple choice? Would they track your phone down if you open this during the exam? See, I don't know. I have no idea. Definitely some things for you to try out on your own. If you have the lockdown browser, I believe it restricts your processes for a given computer. You could try with a second monitor or a second screen if you have it, and see if those apps are still able to run. If you can leave a PDF open to scroll around, maybe not. If you have a second computer, then by all means they can't track that. Your phone. I don't know if I enabled timing on this. I remember having a due date, but I don't know if it's time sensitive, if it like gave you a time limit. Did anyone that take it have some advice on that? Did it cut you out after a certain amount of time? Okay, so you should have unlimited time, and it's my recommendation that you spend like, what, 40 questions, 90 minutes you're allotted? At maximum 90 minutes, and just see how you are, and then, submit, and then revisit your mistakes after that point. Oh, okay. You can see which numbers you got right and wrong, but nothing more, because of the lockdown browser. Interesting. So you can't see the questions again, is that what I'm hearing? One student said you can't review your answers. You can only see which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong, but nothing more. Interesting. So if that's the case, I need to make another copy of said same exam so you can revisit the questions. I'll bring it up with Mr. Simon when we meet today. But take note of the questions you got right or wrong. Practice exam is completion based. There is a Google Classroom assignment for this. I just want you to try it out. So I have a guarantee that you did at least 40 questions from here, another 15 from the other practice. You had 55 multiple choice total. At bare minimum, you've seen things. So completion based, don't worry about it. Okay. Is the AP test our final? That's another thing I have to talk with Mr. Simon about. I think the usual trend is there's like a comprehensive, what's it called? Like mock AP exam given, and that would be treated like your final in preparation for the actual AP test. But this year, I don't know how we should run it. I'm of the camp that I don't want to give a final, and you guys just review and do your things, and after the AP test, I talk about miscellaneous things until the end of the year, because it's just 2 weeks left anyways, and you got other AP exams to worry about. So another question I will ask Mr. Simon, what are we going to do for our final? Second question I bring back to him is, do I need to duplicate the exam so that you can study from it again? It's the same exact question, but it'll be like another entry in AP Classroom. I need to make it clear, though, that this is the exam that you review, not the one that you would do for completion. So I imagine some students getting confused, because I don't think a lot of you have done it just yet. Okay, other questions? I have a few short slides on the 15 multiple choice, some questions that I find are worthy of review. Grading wise, I still got to go through those FRQs. If you're super stuck on any of them, meet with me for office hours. Largely, I'm going to go through them and skim around and grade them mostly based on completion. Okay. So from those 15 multiple choice questions that were due Friday, here were some common mistakes. Here's question 2. You're given 2 words in this function called process words. They find some substrings. Remember how the 2-indice version of it works, with the inclusive of the first number, exclusive of the second number, and index of. This thing was located on the quick reference guide that you're absolutely allowed to have on the AP exam. Index of returns the index of the first occurrence of string. Returns -1 if not found. So in this case, string 1 is the front result, front of the word result. Its position will always be 0, because here you're finding whatever that substring is. It could be null. I guess you can't find the word null, but assume it's like any other kind of word. Cat, right? C012. Yeah, or yeah, cat. That word, CAT is taken. This is looking for the beginning of CAT. Process words, yep. Because result always contains string 2 and it's always at the beginning, the answer here is 0. B, this answer reviews, what's it called? If you forget that, if you somehow make the mistake that we are 1 indexed, like how it is in CS principles, we start counting at 1. No, that is never the case. We start counting at 0 always with indices. These other couple ones I'm not too sure of how they would come up with this. I guess D and E would be a simpler version of index of, maybe looking for individual characters instead of comparing strings to strings. Okay, this is number 2 from the 15 multiple choice questions. Next one, number 3. Perhaps it's been a while since we've seen math.random and how it works, so here's a quick reminder. The number multiplied next to math.random corresponds with the number of possible random values. Remember that math.random here returns a float, or actually a double. I don't think they ever use float in this AP exam. A double, or a decimal, from 0 up to, but not including, 1. Then you multiply that by whatever number here. Let's take, for example, 25. So it goes from 0 up until 24, never 25. And then you're adding that thing. The addition adds to the minimum value, so you shift that range upwards, following through with order of operations. So the mapping here, these are the numbers that are generated. Specifically, when you're looking for 25 to 60, be very careful of these words inclusive and exclusive. Those are the points that usually would throw you off. The classic off by 1 error is usually caused by words like this. Think about the edge cases. Do you include 25? Do you not include it? Do you include 60? Do you not? This one, they do want you to include 25 and 60, so that matches option D. It goes up to, but not including 36, right? 0 to 36 first, and then you add on 25, shifts the whole range upwards. All right, number 14, I think we talked about already in Friday's class. This is a lesson in polymorphism. I made the mistake of picking B here because I used the wrong calc function from thing 1 when I should have used the calc from thing 2. Notice this line is an example of polymorphism. Thing 1 t equals new thing 2. The bucket or container is of type thing 1. Thing 1 is the base class, so it can be treated, sorry. This is where it always becomes a mouthful. Thing 2 is the child. Thing 2 is the, what's the other word? I always, there's 2 other words for it. So thing 1 is the result of thing 2 is the result of thing 1. We need to treat t as a thing 2 object. That's next to the new keyword, although thing 2 can fit into a thing 1 container. Thus, there's some funny calc motion that happens. First, you go through and call the calc from thing 2 with an input of 2. Add 2 to it. Then you call specifically super. That's the parent function. Thing 1's calc function gets called. N is 12. Also, this is a very good review of local variables. N here in thing 1's calc is different than the n down there in thing 2's calc. Right, so 4 times 3, that's 12. 12 gets printed. Notice it's print, not print line. That's why the numbers are right next to each other. Lastly, when you jump back here, the value of n is 4. So 1, 2, 4 is the number sequence that gets printed. Cool. So those are mostly all the slides I had prepared. Are there other questions from stuff you have seen? Your goal this week is to get this 40-question multiple choice exam done. You are getting graded on completion for that. There's more FRQ practice. I know that was requested. You can do the other FRQ questions in Replit Teams to practice typing and solving them. There might be a few test cases written for each of them, but no guarantees. Those FRQs came from the College Board. They were previously released AP exam FRQs, so they're good ones. I'm like thinking, how did they do Unit 842? It's my first time looking at this, and I'm quite impressed with how they structure things. Wow. See, like, man, it's such a nice guide. I wish I had this when I took the exam. Like over here, right? They have the code, and then they have the steps. They even keep track of all the variables for you. But I want 2D arrays. We still have to talk about 2D arrays, and we figured that would be right before, if not later this week, early next week. So it's fresh in your mind. Let's jump. No, it doesn't want me to jump. Do they? Oh, I like it. They go over memory locations. No, these are not memory locations. They're just really big numbers. This seems a little extra, though. Calling it matrix algorithms makes it more intimidating than it actually is. Printing diagonals, printing rows, printing columns. I'm not a fan. Oh, and then it stops. Dang. 2D array stuff doesn't seem that useful. Strings is also a sticky point. Mr. Simon and I are notoriously known for not liking our strings. I like character arrays better, so you want to probably review all those functions related to strings. Review the coding bat assignments you've done in the past. Review the, what's it called? Google Billboard, or review the palindrome assignment. Those were good assignments using strings. Well, the things I wouldn't very much review are like, I imagine if statements y'all be okay with. The Boolean logic stuff, you just need to see a couple questions with that and remember all those different rules and how they distribute, and you'll be fine. I think y'all are okay with that. But come to class with some questions, so I'm better suited to talk about things. I will be preparing something with objects later this week to give to you, as that has been requested. Are there other requests for topics I should hone in on? Okay, so last thing, if you want a little confidence booster, it's been a while since I went to, was it Runestone? Some of you in the very beginning of the class remember CS Awesome, right? And the Runestone website, this thing, we used it at the first like 4 weeks to review things from the AP, like to get you used to Java. And there is a practice exam that you took at the very beginning. That was like 20 questions, and it was a hard exam. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Maybe it's in Unit 0 or something. There was a pre-assessment, 20 questions. So at the very end of it, you take the same exam again, and they call it the post-assessment. And I recommend you take a look at it, because I really like those 20 questions that they pulled out. They review a variety of different topics, and they're hard questions. You could compare your scores from the beginning of the course till now if you did take that 20-question exam. They time you, and you get to see your answers afterwards, so it's nice. I'm trying to find, oh, pretest, there it is. Pretest for APCSA exam. So this thing, consider reviewing this. It's not going to get graded, but it is kind of nice. Some of you took at the beginning. See your results and how you did now after learning a school year of APCSA. I think the post-exam is like, this is the pre-exam in Unit 1. The last one should be down here in recursion, Unit 10. No. Go back. Yes, down here. After Unit 10, post-test. It's the same exam twice. There's also a bunch more multiple choice practice here. You may see repeated questions from the stuff we shared. If I'm just pointing it out, it's like overload. Are you expected to write recursion for the FRQ? Recursion is not one of those 4, well, actually, it could be considered one of the 4 topics, right? So you're guaranteed a 2D array question, you're guaranteed an objects question, you're guaranteed a array or array list question, right? Those are the 3. The 4th category is called methods and control structures. That one could have recursion, but I doubt it. So I can also ask Mr. Simon, like, if you could solve it with recursion, you could solve it another way with like a loop or something. So the answer could be recursive, but I don't think it's going to be likely. That's too much to ask for, I think. For sure, you're going to see recursion on the multiple choice. FRQ, not so much. Let me go back and ask him though. But it could be fair game in the first category, methods and control structures. Or it could be hidden, and like you could solve most of your anything with a loop really with arrays and array lists using recursion. It can get a little sticky, but you could. It would really be annoying to your grader, but also very impressive if you're able to solve everything with recursion. I'd hate you as the reader, but also really appreciate like this kid knows what's going on. Other questions or comments? Okay, nope, that's it. Have a great Monday. Thanks for joining me. Come to class with questions. Focus my Take care, everyone.